You could transition to her set stance with 4-3. I'm calling it set stance because I don't really want to get into trying to pronounce that long S word. It's a mobile stance. It's not immobile. It's a mobile stance. She basically flies forward across the screen a little bit. And during her animation, you see she ducks down a little bit. And when she ducks down like that, she can actually crush highs with high hitboxes. Now, if you press 4-3 and back, this will cancel her set stance, allowing you to block. Now, you being able to block is probably dependent. Well, it's not probably. It is dependent on the frames you had going into set stance, okay? But you can press forward 3 and then press back to cancel set stance and then block. If you press down, if you press forward 3 and then press down, you will cancel set stance into crouching status and you will basically be in full crouch. And here she can apply, she has decent full crouch mix-ups, so you can apply your full crouch mix-ups here. You can apply her little spinning low attack, or she has a I-13 mid attack that I think is actually pretty decent there. Now another transition is press 4-3 and 3+4. She goes into, I can't pronounce the M word, but I call it her flip stance. She low crushes in that stance. Obviously, she has a few options out of there. And if you press 4-3 and 4, she goes into her back turn stance. So those are the transitions. If you press 1+2, you enter her Katan stance. And when you're in that stance, if you press forward, she will transition into her set stance. I made a guide on her Katan stance, so if you guys are interested in that, please check that guide out. 2-2-2 is a high, mid, high I-12 frame string. If you press forward after the third 2, you will transition into set stance. Now, the 2-2 is a natural combo. The 2-2-2 is not a natural combo. It's not even a natural combo on counter hit. And if you land the second hit, it's still not a natural combo to the third hit. You have to land the second hit as a counter hit for the third hit to be guaranteed. It is -4 on block and it is +7 on hit. These are the transition frames from 2-2-2 forward into set. And very importantly to keep in mind that this string does not gel. If your opponent blocks the mid, they can duck the high and launch you, so be aware of that. Forward 4 is a I-15 frame mid. If you press forward after the 4, you will transition to set stance. It is 0 on block and +7 on hit, so pretty good frames to go into set with, honestly, whether on block or on hit. This is also a combo filler. If you look at Kunimitsu's combos online, you're gonna see a lot of people do forward like into the 1 to pick up and to just, you know, be the middle part of the combos. This move has some pretty decent range. If I was going to cancel set, forward into set and back, this is probably the move I would actually use. I always prefer to do it off of plus frames, but this is 0 on block and your opponent has to be pretty fast to actually punish you in recovery frames if you do that. While standing 2-4 is a mid-high I-14 frame string that is a natural combo. If you press 4 at the end of the string, like always, it transitions into set stance. You're -9 on block, but more importantly, this does not gel on block. So if your opponent blocks the mid, they can duck the high and punish you for that. So again, like always, be aware. This string has some pretty decent range and it is +11 on hit and does a ballerina spin. So very, very good frames on hit. It also wall splats. Now, me personally, I would just use this as a block punisher. I think this is a pretty good block punisher, giving you great frames going into set. The 4 on counter hit is a counter hit launcher, and you can also delay this string. Back turn 1-3 is a high mid string that comes out in I-15. It is also a natural combo, just like while standing 2-4 was. Just like all the other strings, if you hold forward at the end of the string, she will transition into set stance. She is -1 on block and +6 on hit, so pretty good frames overall going into set stance here. I believe this move is also a combo filler for some of her combos. Last thing is to keep in mind that back turn is also one of her primary stances. She has a lot of other options coming out of back turn stance outside of just going into her set stance. Now let's talk about her set moves. We're going to start off with her set 1-2, which is -6 on block and +8 on hit. Now set 1-2 has 4 different enders, and we're going to talk about that in detail in just a second. What I want to do really fast is a quick comparison so you guys can see something really quick. Her set 1-2-1, her set 1-2-2, and her set 1-2-4 has the same ender as her 1 string coming out of the neutral. So 1-1-1, 1-1-2, and 1-1-4. Okay, same ender. But keep in mind that these strings are not exactly matches all the way through. 1-1 is a high mid, so if your opponent tries to duck the second hit, they will get hit. Set 1-2 is a high and it doesn't gel on block. So your opponent can actually duck the second hit of set 1-2 and you can end up getting punished or floated or counter hit, launched or whatever. But be aware of that, because just because the enders are the same for the 1 strings and the set 1-2 strings, or the standing neutral 1-1 strings and the set 1-2 strings, the second hit is different between those 2 strings. I just wanted to make you guys aware of that. Now let's get into talking about all of the set 1 strings. Set 1-2-1 is a high mid string that comes out in 10 frames. This is unsafe on block at -11, so if you're playing an opponent that has a character that has a really good 10 frame punisher or a solid 𝐖/11 punisher, don't abuse this move. On hit, it is a knockdown. Now it's not a natural combo, and on counter hit, it is also still not a natural combo. If you land the second hit on counter hit, the third hit is guaranteed. There is a big enough gap between the second hit and the third hit on block that your opponent can interrupt you with a fast attack, so keep that in mind. And from my labbing, at least, the tracking of the last hit of this move is actually pretty solid. Set 1-2-2 is a high mid string that comes out in 10 frames. This is -9 on block, so this is safe on block. This is probably my favorite one to actually do. On hit, it is a knockdown. Now, a running theme you're going to hear with the set 1 strings is that it's not a natural combo and it's not a natural counter hit combo. And if you land the second hit on counter hit, the third hit is going to be guaranteed. Something else I like about this string, unlike set 1-2-1 where you can interrupt the last hit off a block, you can't interrupt the last hit of set 1-2-2 off a block, so that's actually pretty good. Also, just like set 1-2-1, for set 1-2-2, the tracking on the last hit is pretty solid again. Set 1-2-3 is a high mid string that comes out in 10 frames and is -4 on block. So pretty solid on block, because now you can move around, versus set 1-2-2, which was -9 on block, which was nice because it was safe on block, but you were giving up your turn. Now you're at -4, you can still do some movement. And on hit, it's a knockdown and you're right on top of your opponent, so you can apply some 𝐂𝐓 pressure here. Now set 1-2-3, I'm pretty sure is just independently, a part of the set stance. I don't think this ender is a part of her 1 string enders or anything like that. Like all the other 1 strings we've gone through for her set stance so far, it is not a natural combo. On counter hit, it is also not a natural combo. You have to land the second hit on counter hit to guarantee the third hit. And because she flips and floats through the sky or whatever, if you have the timing, you can actually dash under her and punish her from the back. You block the first 2 attacks, you dash under her third attack, and then you can punish her from the back. And unlike the other 2, set 1-2-1 and set 1-2-2, the tracking is actually, it makes sense because she's flipping and floating in the sky. The tracking is pretty bad. You can easily sidewalk her to the right as well as sidewalk her to the left. And I do believe you can also block the first 2 attacks and just float her out of the third attack, like attack her and float her. Set 1-2-4 is a high mid string that comes out in 10 frames. And not only is this safe on block, this is plus on block. It is +3 on block. So you can keep your pressure going right there. So that's really good. And on hit, it's a knockdown, very similar to set 1-2-3 with a 3 ender. You're right on top of your opponent, so you can apply some good 𝐂𝐓 pressure right there. So again, very good. Unfortunately, that's kind of where all the goodness of this string ends, in my humble opinion. This string has a lot of weaknesses. I know it seems good with the +3 on block. Like the other strings, it's not a natural combo. Like the other sets 1 strings, it's not a natural combo on counter hit. Unlike the other 3 strings, if you land the second hit on counter hit, it is still not a natural combo. This string is extremely linear. You can sidewalk it, sidestep it, any direction you choose for any day of the week. It just really doesn't matter. It's that linear, and the gap is so big between the second and third hit, you can easily float your opponent, especially if you read this string. So yeah, it is what it is. Now set 2 is probably my favorite move out of set. I honestly wouldn't be shocked if this was everybody's favorite move out of set, honestly. It is a 𝐼12 frame mid that has really good range. It is -9 on block, so safe on block. On hit, it is +12. Just +12, man. Every time I hear anything that's over +9, I just like, wow, they really like that move. So it's +12 on hit, ballerina spin, and it wall splats by the wall. On counter hit, it is a launcher, so this is a counter hit launcher if you land this, and that's great because it's a 12 frame mid at 𝐼12 that is safe on block, and it's a counter hit launcher. I know I'm repeating myself, but that's just how good this move is to me. Now it does have a weakness, and that is that it is weak to sidestep right and weak to sidewalk right. Set 3 is the only low coming out of set stance, coming out at 𝐼18, so pretty fast. It has, at least I feel like it has a good amount of active frames. I swear, the couple times I was hit by this, I thought the move should have ended. I guess is my point. That's just my experience though. On block it's -16, so launch punishable on block, very punishable on block. On hit it is 0, which is decent, but it forces crouch, which is more important in my opinion. So it's 0 and it forces crouch on hit. On counter hit is a counter hit launcher, which is always good. You can kind of tell from the animation that this move actually tech crouches, so it high crushes, so highs go over the move, it goes under highs. It is weak to sidestep right as well as sidewalk left and sidewalk right. Set 4-3 is a mid string that comes out in 𝐼18. It is a natural combo. Now the fact that it comes out in 18 frames makes it an effective 50-50 with set 3, because set 3 is a low that comes out in 𝐼18 and set 4-3 is a mid that comes out in 𝐼18. So that's actually pretty good if you want to apply some 50-50 pressure there. On block it is -13, so it is unsafe on block. Be very careful if you're playing against characters like Fang that have powerful 13 frame punishers. On hit it is a knockdown, and if you're by the wall it also wall splats. It is weak to sidestep right. It is also weak to sidewalk right as well as sidewalk left. Set up 4-4 is a 13 frame mid. It is -14 on block, so there are characters in the game that can actually launch you on block for this. This is typically, it's an attack throw. It's typically used as a combo ender. I don't think you're going to be throwing this out of set in a neutral. I think you're going to be using this to end your combos for certain situations. But the tracking is fairly decent. If you do want to throw it out and you see somebody stepping, this is an option. Last thing is that she has access to her command throws from her set stance. So if you in set and you do 1+4, that is one of her command throws, or you do 1+2, that's another command throw. Now you break 1+4, that is a 1 break. And if you do set into 1+2, that is a 1+2 break. So for my first tip or suggestion, whatever you want to call it, is basically forward. I think is one of the better ways to enter set, or even just 4-3. I know that 4-3 you're coming out of the neutral, but if you're good at spacing, something like set 2 could be a good whiff punisher. So in my opinion, when you're learning how to enter set, these are two of the better ways to start off with, or to try to get good with in terms of learning how to enter set. Forward and 4-3. Next tip. Kunimitsu is a confusion based character. Your opponent should be guessing all the time. They should never be able to read what you're going to do or predict what you're going to do. Yes, somebody could do a hard read and guess correct, but it should really be a guess. You have so many options with this character, they should be unclear of your next move. So for example, sometimes don't go into sets. Sometimes cancel it down and go into a full crouch mix up. Sometimes cancel into back. Even though I know in certain situations that could be a little dangerous, but it's a good possibility. You may just freeze your opponent up, bait out an attack, block that attack, and punish the attack that you baited out. Sometimes just cancel into the flip stance. You know, do 3+4. I don't know how to pronounce that M word, but you get my point here. The point is, don't be predictable with her. For the next tip, I said earlier in the video for the string transition section that 2-2-2 forward going into set is not a natural combo, and the last hit of the third 2 in that string is a high, and you can duck that. So once players start to learn Kunimitsu and they read her strings, a lot of people will probably start ducking it. So another mix-up option there is to maybe do 2-2 into 1+2, which is her Katan stance. And if you actually did this off a hit, you can go into Katan 1, and that is on counter hit you get +12, and you can get a guaranteed 12 frame follow-up. So that's something to consider mixing it up. Even if you do it on block, it may still work because your opponent may duck and try to punish you, but technically speaking, since you actually didn't finish, you might catch them depending on the type of punish they do. Considering they may go for a launcher, you might actually be able to interrupt them, but it should definitely work on hit. And even still, my point is, this is just another form of mixing up and not being predictable with Kunimitsu. This is part of who she is as a character. So my last tip is pretty straightforward. A lot of people are probably already doing this, and simply I just want to give you an idea or some suggestions on how to set up set 1-4, because I know some people probably want to collect those +3+ frames and keep the pressure going, but as I said before, you can easily float it and it's very linear. My suggestion is simply just toss out set 1, 2, 2 a decent amount because it is safe on block. It is extremely hard to step. I wasn't able to step it, and you can't interrupt the last hit. So basically, if you're doing that enough, don't abuse anything in Tekken, period. But if you're doing that enough, your opponent may be frozen because they're concerned about stepping, and you may land set 1, 2, 4 and collect those plus frames. That is the end of my Tekken 7 Kunimitsu Setsunagake Stance. I don't even know why I tried that. Or in simpler terms, my Tekken 7 Kunimitsu Guide Set Stance overview and breakdown. Anyway, if you guys like this content, please like and subscribe. It really, really does help my channel a lot. I really appreciate all you guys' support. This is Acid Light. You guys take care.